renewing fossil fuel permits in federal lands and here in California. Where would you situate us in the international fight to keep fossil fuels in the ground? And why do you think that California's leadership on phasing out oil extraction is so crucial?
Well, good questions. First of all, what a pleasure to be part of this panel, and Ilonka, thank you for your leadership here. I'm the ringer here because I'm not from California. I come from Vermont, where there's nothing valuable beneath the soil at all, so we just go about our ways. Look, it's getting toward morning right now in the Asian subcontinent. And in the Bay of Bengal this morning, there is a cyclone, the biggest in 15 or 20 years anyway. Winds are headed towards Category 4. It's going to slam into the border of Bangladesh and Burma sometime today. It's going to slam into the world's largest refugee camp, where there's 1 million Rohingya refugees living in tents. They're calling it Cyclone Mocha, but really the right name is Cyclone Chevron or Cyclone Exxon or something like that, because that's what happens when you keep digging up oil and burning it and pouring it into the atmosphere. That's the world we live on now, an overheating planet where there's so much extra energy in the air that we see huge amounts of evaporation and drought and wildfire, and then that water gets up there and we see deluge and downpour and flood. And we see it hitting hardest at the places where people have done the least to cause it. Nobody in Bangladesh burned enough oil to make the slightest bit of difference to the temperature of the earth, but most of us here in this part of the world have burned a lot. And all at the behest of this industry that we're here to try to push back against. It's an insane industry at this point. I mean, we're talking about all of this as if it was a kind of, and it is an important political debate that we're having, but they just spent $20 million to try and overturn a law that says you can't have an oil well in somebody's school playground. You can't have an oil well next to a hospital. What are we talking about, you know? Especially on a planet where the engineers have done their job pretty well. We live on an Earth where the cheapest way to generate power now is to point a sheet of glass at the sun. We do not need to be doing any of this. And yet we keep doing it because it's extraordinarily profitable to a small number of people. And our job is to figure out how to make sure that the small and the many can stand up to the mighty and the few. And that's why we form movements. So I like, on occasion, coming to the Golden State, and I've had good time here. I've gotten to march in LA, and I've gotten to get arrested in Richmond, and on and on and on. But it's all kind of crazy at some level. It's not like this is what California's economy really depends on anymore. I mean, when I was young, and I'm old, when I was young, you'd look in the encyclopedia, and each state had a little symbol next to it about what its economy was. And in California, there was a little oil well, you know? But that's not what California's economy, now you get, you know, it's, I don't even know what you'd do a picture of, you know, a cell phone or something, you know? This is just a hangover, some memory, but people can still make some money from it, so they still try. So our job is to stop it, and stop it now. Because we have run out of margin, and run out of time, and run out of, so, you know, I'm the ringer here in many ways. One of them is that I'm the old person up here. And I'll just say that, that as we're organizing other people with hairlines like mine around America, we are going to do our best to back up and stand in solidarity with all the young people who are doing enormous leading here. We're extremely happy to be the rocking chair rebels in this work, the fossils against fossil fuels. We're happy to try and bring some of this heat because this is the biggest thing that human beings have ever done by far to change the temperature of the earth. And so the biggest possible privilege that any of us could have is getting to figure out how to stand in the way of that, to interfere with it, to try and shut it down. So that is what we will try to do. Thanks.